Most beginner fat loss plans fail, not because they don't work, but because they're too complicated. I'm going to give you a plan today that's so simple you'll actually stick to it. First, I'll show you what normally goes wrong, then I'll show you the basics of how we're going to approach this, and finally, how to build on this to make sure that we carry on progressing. So, here's what goes wrong normally with a beginner fat loss plan. Firstly, they make things too complicated. They try to do everything at once. 6 days a week in the gym, meal prepping absolutely everything. It's quite overwhelming and normally not that sustainable. Problem number 2 is that they're too restrictive, cutting calories too low, eliminating whole food groups, saying no to every single social plan. Realistically, this isn't a fun way to live long term. And finally, no clear starting point. Most plans don't actually tell you exactly where to start. You're left guessing, and that leads to either doing too little or maybe too much. People constantly bounce from diet to diet to diet, meaning that they never stick with something long enough to actually see the results happen. They're focusing on what influencers are doing instead of what actually works for beginners. And they expect results in days when fat loss actually takes weeks and months. So let's start with the basics. These 3 things will get you 80% of the way there to your goal. First thing I want you to do is take 2 20-minute walks daily. That's going to get you roughly 5,000 to 6,000 steps throughout the day. Schedule these in, maybe in your work day, so before work, one on your lunch break as well, or one after work and one before work. This is where it becomes specific to you because you need to make sure it works for your schedule. This is a great way to expend energy, which is going to help to burn calories because it's such low intensity on your body compared to going to a HIIT class or some sort of circuit where you're putting your central nervous system through quite a big, intense bout of exercise. Whereas if we're trying to think about what's going to help the body long term, it's going to be making sure that we're keeping intensity quite low so that you can do it repeatedly every single day. Another thing I would do here is pair this up with something that you really enjoy listening to. So this could be one of your favorite podcasts, or it could be an audiobook that you love listening to. Now, what you want to do is say to yourself, I'm only going to listen to this audiobook or podcast when I'm on my walk doing my steps. And then it becomes this enjoyable task because you get to pair it up with that thing. Okay, task number 2 is going to be a simple 5 exercise home workout. What I want you to do is pick 5 exercises that you can do at home. And then we're going to do 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. So that means 40 seconds of doing the work, 20 seconds resting. Now we're going to do this for 5 rounds, which means that the total time of this workout would be 25 minutes. Now I want you to do this 3 times a week to start. This is great because you don't need a gym membership to do so. And the one thing I would recommend maybe buying for this would be a resistance band so that you have some sort of resistance in the exercises. Or you could do everything body weight. It could be push-ups, sit-ups, squats, lunges, and a good morning, which is where you're bending over and coming back up. All of these are really simple exercises, but they're actually strengthening the body and getting it moving a little bit more than it is just doing nothing at home, right? Okay, and the third thing we're going to do is work out your individual calorie goal. So we need to have you in a calorie deficit, which means that we are burning more calories than we are consuming, meaning that your body is in that deficit, so then it will look to lose that body fat and burn body weight. So this is where we're looking to get you into that calorie deficit, and this is where we are burning more energy than we are consuming. So it means that we stick to that calorie number, whichever comes out for you. So the best way I would go about doing this is going onto Google, typing in calorie calculator, and there'll be a load of different ones to do. You then just enter your basic, your body weight, your height, how many times a week you train, and obviously your gender as well. And then this will come out with the calorie goals that you want to work towards. If you want any help with this as well, please don't hesitate to reach out and send me over a message as well. So it's going to give you your maintenance calories when you do this as well. So from this maintenance number, we then want to take off 300 to 500 calories. So we're not going too aggressive with this deficit. We want it to be something that is sustainable for you. So at the start, you don't need to track every single day. Just start to get a rough idea of portion sizing. So you'll probably have some staple meals that you eat already. Start putting them into MyFitnessPal or a similar tracking app, and you'll start to notice how many calories are in there and then what the macronutrients look like as well. So the protein, carbs and fats, which obviously will become more important to you later down the line. But to start with, it's just a case of getting a little bit more aware of what's going into your body. Okay, so once we've got these nailed down for 2 to 4 weeks, these are the basics that we wanted to cover. Now we can build on this from here. And here's how we're gonna do it. Firstly, we're gonna look at increasing that strength training. So we're gonna add another workout day if we're doing the home workouts. So this could be going from 3 days that you've done consistently now for 2 to 4 weeks, going to 4 days or 5 days. Or the other option is actually taking the plunge and getting a gym membership and going in and starting to actually lift a little bit more resistance in the gym. I find that in a gym environment, it is easier to progress the weights you're lifting because you are going to have, let's say, a rack of dumbbells with a complete range from, let's say, 2 kilos or 2 pounds all the way up to 50 a lot of the time or higher. So when we have this, we have a big range of where we can see that progressive overload happen, which is where we're looking to add stimulus to the muscle so that it's got the ability to grow. That's one option. And then also think about in the gym as well, you've got the machines that have the pins in them. So it's very easy again to progress because you can make sure that you're changing it each time to just to build more stimulus as well there. So obviously we're talking about losing body fat. Why am I talking about strength training? So having more muscle mass on your frame will help you to burn more calories at rest. And then when we think about when we've actually lost the body fat, we want to make sure that we have a nice toned physique underneath. And that means actually working the muscles, okay? So making sure that they're actually doing something, getting some actual volume in the muscles as well, so that you can see that like nice definition on the body. And now that you've been doing this for 2 to 4 weeks, you're probably getting a little bit more confident in what you're doing with these exercises. Now I want you to start challenging yourself a little bit. That was quite hard. Maybe I was working at about a 7 out of 10 there. Now I want to push that to an 8 out of 10 intensity, okay? So you've got to look at how do I do that? How do I make that change? And that comes from, like I said, in the gym, it's increasing the weights. It could be at home, just if you've been doing 15 reps every single time, it could be going to 20 reps every single time. There's different ways you can do this. Okay, second thing we're going to do is to increase the walks that we've been doing. So obviously you've been doing 20 minutes twice a day. I want you to up that now to 30 minutes twice a day. This is going to take us from roughly 6,000 steps up to 8,000 to 9,000 steps on a daily basis. You think about that's just from your walks, and then think about either, walking around the house, doing like chores and cleaning and doing the dishwasher and walking to work, walking the dog. All these things will add up and you'll be very easily hitting that 10,000 steps that we're aiming towards. 10,000, by the way, is not a magic number. It's just a consistently high number of steps that we can get to achieve compared to someone that is very sedentary, sitting at home on their computer all day when they're working. Just remember as well, more movement equals more calories burned. And if we can keep it nice and low intensity, like with the walking, instead of more and more exercise at a high intensity, then you're going to be able to carry on doing it sustainably for a longer period of time. Okay, finally, we're going to start to get more accurate with food tracking. Start weighing your food out on a food scale. Get more precise with your portion sizes. You'll start to notice over time how your knowledge around certain amounts of different things and how they help you to get towards your goal. Let's look at an example of this. You might have before been having, as an example, a sandwich at lunchtime with 1 piece of ham in it. I call that a sad sandwich. By now, you'll probably have realized if you've been putting that into MyFitnessPal that it doesn't have much protein in there. It's not gonna have much nutritional value. Whereas if we just changed out the filling of that sandwich to some grilled chicken and then put some lettuce and cucumber in there, you're gonna now have a nice nutritious lunch and you will watch how much that fills you up compared to the 1 piece of ham in your sandwich beforehand. Now, one thing here is if you've been eyeballing your portion sizes, this is where I want you to start getting more accurate. Start using that scale more and more, because you will watch how much easier it gets to hit your goals when you're getting more accurate with your tracking. Eyeballing your food is leaving everything to chance. Most people underestimate their food by 20 to 30%. So the more accurate we can get, the better. And then I want you to remember as well that tracking doesn't have to be forever. It's for a finite amount of time so that you can make sure that you've got the skills there and you understand what the food portions look like, so that in the future and whenever you've hit your goals, you can then pull away from the tracking and actually still make progress because of your awareness of the food. Okay, so that is everything that will start you off on your fat loss plan that should be a lot more sustainable than some of the plans out there. So copy these basics down, master them. And then once you've done that, that's where we start to build on top of that. So don't try and do too many things at once. Don't get overwhelmed. Just do the basics. And I'm very confident that you will start to see the results happen that you're looking for. Remember, the faster you start, the quicker you're going to get to your end result. But starting simple actually means you'll stick to it instead of falling off track within a few weeks. Stop overcomplicating everything and let's just get started today. Which basics are you going to start with this week? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time.